me say something. I must pay homage to the men that are here today, supporting you. And more importantly to the trade union movement, where blackfellas wouldn't have gone anywhere if it wasn't for you. Will you bring them people out of those detention centres? You're treating them as less than human beings. And then we ought to send word, Peter Dutton in there, to see what it's like to live in a place like that. This is the blight on this country's history. You'd be very sure about that. And that family that Billawheeler is accepted as their own, perhaps they should bring them home to Billawheeler. And one thing I want to say is I will not stand by and let the most vulnerable people in group homes be raped, the elderly women in these aged nursing homes be raped. This is disgusting. This is disgusting. And one thing that disturbs me greatly is a man that's rotting in a prison over in England because he dared to tell the truth. Well, us blackfellas are bringing him home to his kids. So, Julian, we'll have a banner for you, mate. You don't deserve to be away from your children. It's wrong. So if you don't like what us blackfellas say, we're never going away. So wait till May, after Mother's Day, and then we'll have our rallies and marches, and you're more than welcome. But what I want to say, when you see that banner, what's that, Bible? 3 little words. Who's sorry now? Not us blackfellas.
Welcome to country. Thank you, Auntie Shirley. Let's hear it again for Auntie Shirley. Sisters and allies, thanks so much for coming out today. My name's Natalie Lang and I'm the branch secretary of the ASU in New South Wales and the ACT. I'm a proud trade unionist and I'm a proud feminist. I'm so proud to get to be here today, to have the privilege to MC today's rally. We're going to be marching together, but I want to tell you what I'm not proud of. I'm not proud of our society when we look the other way at violence against women. I'm not proud of our political leaders and our commentators who essentially turn their back and let the system be the apologists for the men who perpetrate violence, disrespect and mistreatment of women. I'm not proud of the number of column inches that are turned over to these men in powerful positions to express their shock. They're shocked. We're not shocked. Women know that this is going on. We talk about it all the time. In our homes, in our communities, in our workplaces, amongst the sisterhood, amongst our allies. We've known for too long that this mistreatment of women is not down to one bad egg or 2 bad eggs. It is a systemic problem. A systemic problem that allows this violence to be perpetrated against women. Mistreatment, disrespect, disadvantage, inequitable treatment of women in our society has gone on too long. I'm proud to hold just one of the banners that expresses our dismay at the mistreatment of women that goes on. I am proud of the women, grassroots activists who came together to organise today's rally. I'm proud of the incredibly brave women who spoke up, who shared their story when the system was stacked against them, when the column inches would turn over to evaluating them, not the behaviour that was perpetrated against them. And they spoke up. And our sisters raised their voices. And the least that we can do, sisters and allies, is raise our voices with them. You are at the Sydney Women's March for Justice. And we are just one of the many rallies being held around Australia today and over the weekend. And when we rally and when we march, it's not a walk around the block. It's not a stroll. We're not counting our steps on our Fitbit. We are marching for justice, and we won't stop marching until we have justice, until we have change, until we end violence against women, the mistreatment of women, the system that allows it. And every single woman and ally who is here today will not stop raising our voices. Please welcome our next speaker for today, Michael Bradley. Michael is a freelance writer and managing partner at Sydney law firm Mark Lawyers. He has been a lawyer for 25 years, practising in litigation and regulatory affairs.
Thank you. I'm here today for Kate. I'm not speaking for Kate. Kate spoke for herself, and as you can see, she has been heard. We've heard a lot lately about the rule of law. Well, this is what the rule of law really says. The rule of law promises equality under the law. Equal access, equal protection, equal accountability. The law is just a tool. It's there to serve justice. If there is no justice, then the law has failed. For the victims of rape and sexual violence, justice is hard to see. Our legal system speaks to survivors and perpetrators of sexual violence, but it says two very different things. To survivors, it says, you prove it. To perpetrators, it says, you don't have to say a word. That is why, if you are a survivor of sexual violence, it is extremely unlikely that you will ever see justice. And it is why, if you are a perpetrator, it is extremely unlikely that justice will ever see you. That is not justice. That is system failure. The rule of law dictates equality and fairness. It is not fair that the whole burden of the system is on survivors. It is not just that they are coerced into silence. When the system fails, the rule of law says we have to change it. And it's time to change the system. The burden of this task must not fall on survivors alone. It is on all of us to stand up and force change. It is time for the silencing to end. The law is blind, but it is not deaf. If we speak loudly enough, we will be heard.
Ally, thank you so much for your words. Now I know that many of us who are here today may be ourselves dealing with the trauma of sexual, family and gendered violence, and many of us will have others in our lives who are experiencing that trauma. So I just want to remind everybody that help is available and you can access free trauma-informed counselling that is delivered by Feminist Women's Services.
Thank you so much. Thank you, especially to Auntie Shirley, and for welcoming us onto your land. And a week that's already been so distressing with 3 Indigenous deaths in custody. Thank you for your solidarity. And thank you to any other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who have come here and shown solidarity with us here today. And may we all do the same when their marches are on. I also pay homage to the survivors, and I know there are so many of you out there, women, children and men, who have lived with this their whole lives. And your courage blows me away every single day. Thank you for surviving, and thank you for being here for those who can't be. I think the strength of this crowd and the power of this moment is almost overwhelming. Who here is angry? Who here is bloody tired? And who here is determined? Who here is determined to make this moment count? Just before the Attorney General gave his press conference 2 weeks ago, I received a message warning that the media would be backgrounded on Kate's mental health. This is a tactic called DAVO: deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. It works like this. The alleged perpetrator and their supporters deny the allegation, they attack the victim's credibility, and then they reverse the role of victim and offender so that it looks like the alleged perpetrator is the real victim. This attack is intended to chill, terrify and intimidate the victim and their supporters, and it often includes legal threats. It took just 3 days for this tactic to be deployed against Kate. Kate had sought therapy. She had read a best-selling book about trauma, and she had undergone EMDR therapy, a standardised trauma treatment that is subsidised by Medicare. Apparently, that was evidence that this may be just another case of falsely recovered memories. Crikey reporter David Hardacre wrote, "Is it possible that the discredited and dangerous practice of recovered memory has now ensnared an Attorney General?" I read that at midnight and messaged my friends in a panic. It didn't matter that Kate had been talking to friends about this since the time of the alleged incident. We were enraged, we were despairing. This is what always happens. But then something different happened. All of you were there. You saw what was happening and you called it out, and you refused to let this narrative win. And the best response came from Leslie Cannold, and she said, "There is something exquisitely screwed up about a society that abuses women in ways that cause trauma and then uses the mental illness that trauma can provoke as evidence they were never really abused in the first place." On Saturday, The Australian ran an article by Janet Albrechtson and Peter von Unselmann, a long-time personal friend of Christian Porter's, publishing diary entries from Kate that had been submitted to South Australian Police and distributed to various politicians. I cannot think of anything more foul and unethical than a journalist publishing the traumatic diary entries of a woman who suicided after accusing his friend of violently raping her, and then goading readers to conclude that those diary entries should raise doubts about her allegations. But you are all here today because you're not having any of this. Because you know there are two stages of perpetration. The first stage is the attack. The second stage is the silencing. And the silencing is the betrayal. It is how the trauma truly takes root. We can't all be there at the time of the attack. We can't stop that initial trauma from taking place, but we can be there for the second stage. And we are here today to say that Brittany will not be silent, Kate will not be silent, victim survivors will not be silent, not now, not ever. So let me ask you something. When this march is over, will you be silent? No! Next week, will you be silent? No! Will you ever be silenced again? Right now, the Morrison government is banking on the media running out of interest. Another big story taking its place, the public forgetting. But they have underestimated us. The time for silence is over. We will be counted, and if you do not make your ministers accountable and upend your oppressive systems, you will pay the price for ignoring us. Christian Porter deserves the presumption of innocence, but Kate's allegations are credible and they must be investigated. If he wants to uphold public office, he must face an inquiry. There is no other option. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your nerve and your determination. Thank you for showing all victim survivors that they are not alone, that they now have an army of lovers and fighters behind them. Let's make this stick.
Wow, Jess. On the list of things I'm proud of, Jess Hill leading the charge. Sister. I think it's time to hear it again. The women united will never be defeated. 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 Neither defeated nor silenced. Please now welcome Barbary. Marie is a Dunghutti Aboriginal woman. Her background was in Aboriginal affairs before starting her catering and cultural experiences business 10 years ago.
Welcome, sisters! I feel so emotional and so proud to be standing here with you all today. I'm 55 years old and it's taken me this long in my life to have a voice. I don't know how I'm going to follow our wonderful speakers, they're just amazing. But I'm going to give it a good go. Okay, hello and thank you for allowing the opportunity to speak out about gender-based violence. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the elders, both past, present and emerging, of the Eora Nation. And I'd like to thank Auntie Shirley for your wonderful, powerful welcome. So my name's Barbary. I'm a strong Aboriginal woman of the Dunghutti Nation in mid-north coast New South Wales. I'm a mother of 5 and grandmother of 8. Mainly girls. I'm a businesswoman and CEO of Culture Experience, and I'm a strong advocate for my community and family. I'm a survivor of the removal policies, and I'm a survivor of institutional abuse. Even though I was born free and equal, both in rights and in dignity, by the time I was 6, I had been stolen. As a young teenager, I had my dignity and self-respect taken from me. And as a young woman, I was sold. Can you believe that in this country I was sold? By my foster father to a 70-year-old man, and our government knew. This is institutional abuse perpetrated by men in power. To this day, I cannot tell you what my personal value is as a human being, nor can I tell you my worth as a woman, or as a mother, or as a grandmother. But I can tell you what the dollar value my perpetrators put on me: $20,000. And I can tell you that government supported my perpetrators with their policies and laws. I have no closure. As a 55-year-old woman, I carry 50 years of shame and humiliation in my heart. I'm angry. I'm angry. That we are all here today raising our voices as one, fighting to be heard. Back in 2017, the United Nations stated it was time to turn the tide of violence against women and end it. That's why I'm angry. They made the following statement: today, we, the executive heads of the UNDP, UNFPA and UN Women, together call for the elimination of violence against women and girls and the guarantee of all rights for all women everywhere. The declaration asserted the key principles of equality, non-discrimination, participation and accountability to ensure women could enjoy their full human rights. The UN stated there would be a collaborative effort to eliminate all forms of violence against women by 2030. 2030, I'm angry, are you angry? 2030? Time enough for another generation of women to be damaged? To those who call themselves our leaders, I ask you, where is your duty of care for the victims? Every woman here today lays the blame at your door. We are holding you accountable. We are holding the perpetrators accountable. We want the government to recognise their obligation to ensure our human rights are supported, and no woman or girl in this country should go through the pain and shame of being made feel alone and incapable of having a voice in a safe space. To all my titters and sisters out there, this isn't good enough. We want change now. We want it now. One final comment to all our perpetrators: change is coming, and you will be held accountable.
Today is a woman who needs no introduction, the wonderful Yvonne Weldon. Yvonne is a proud Wiradjuri woman and the current elected chairperson of Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council and a board member of Domestic Violence New South Wales. She has a passion for improving the lives of all through health, social justice, Aboriginal advancement, children's rights, education, child protection, research and evaluation. And with Yvonne on all those fronts, we can't possibly not have change. Yvonne has held key positions with the New South Wales Government and Aboriginal community-controlled sectors. In 2016, Yvonne was shortlisted for the Queensland Literary Awards, Unpublished Indigenous Writer, David Unampan Award category, and was awarded the 2017 Allen and Unwin Faber Writing Academy Scholarship. Please welcome Yvonne.
Hello, sisters and brothers. As was said, my name is Yvonne Weldon. I am a sovereign Wiradjuri woman. My rights have never been ceded. I am the elected chairperson of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, who are the cultural authority under the Aboriginal Land Rights Act for the land that we are on. I would like to pay my respects to all elders past and present, to all First Nations and to each and every one of you here today that's stopping traffic to stop this crap. Our boundaries are known and are lived not through the roads and man-made landmarks, but through the natural landscapes of our earth. The Eora Nation's country covers the Hawkes River in the north, the Nepean in the west, and the Georges River in the south. On behalf of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, the elders, and the members, I welcome everyone to the land of the Gadigal. I acknowledge the Gadigal people, whose spirits and ancestors will always remain with this land, our Mother Earth. Across this beautiful continent now, there are hundreds of nations, tribes and clans that have existed here for over 60,000 years. My people are the oldest living culture of the world. And our customs has a strong inclusion and importance of women leading and showing the way for all. In my life, I've been privileged by many incredible Wiradjuri women, my mum, my aunts, and many of my elders. And to give recognition of never-ending dedication of women, could you all please pause for a moment to remember the many sacrifices women have made along the way, the ones we will continue to make, and the ones that should never happen. Let us remember the many women that have paved the way for all of us, the ones walking beside us and others soon to be following in our footsteps. We must honour and recognise them, to keep their voices alive and not allowing the abuse to continue. Breaking through those men's barriers and not creating them. And we must bring about positive changes to multiple generations, starting a healing to the past generations by declaring what should not have ever taken place. To the present day generations, giving us our safety and creating an abuse-free future for the next generations. We can only truly go forward if we call out what cannot continue to take place. Bringing that truth to light, not hiding where they want us to stay, hidden in the dark. Just as the 2018 NAIDOC theme, because of her we can. We can because of you. And it is because of you we will not continue to have this happen to us. Know that in the footprints of our ancestors we walk, leave our prints as they stand. So let us all draw upon my people's spirits as we continue on our journey. May my people's spirits walk with you and guide you as we strive forward for us all. Again, on behalf of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, welcome to Gadigal land. This always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. What us women want are our rights. We don't want them to be taken, we don't want to be given. They are our rights first. Not because you say so, because it's our right to have them. They